Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahabushai, Bahasham, Barakahakodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Revelation chapter 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, in the time of the dead, that they should be judged. And those nations that were angry is speaking of the heathen nations who are also the dead, the spiritually dead, because they don't have the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh by Hashem Yahabushai. And them being judged is them being in hardcore bondage and slavery during the first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven, building it up. And that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, the elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the righteous 1/3, the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven, that did everything they could on this side to stay in the good graces of their power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahabushai, so that they receive salvation, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And that's speaking of the wicked, whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job chapter 9, verse 24, the border of wickedness in Malachi chapter 1, verse 4, the Edomites are the so-called white people. And ever since they came into this little season of their final rulership, beginning with the Renaissance, they definitely have been doing their best to destroy this earth. Just look at the state of the planet right now. You've got chemtrails in the sky, pollution in the ocean, which is killing off marine life and causing other marine life to beach themselves on these shores because they can't take it. GMO foods giving people cancer, cell phone and Wi-Fi radiation giving people cancer, hunting animals to extinction, strip mining lands for their resources, starting destructive wars to overthrow sovereign leaders and set up puppets so they can rape that nation of its resources and abuse the people, breaking down the family structure, creating destructive ideologies like feminism, the alphabet group beginning with LG, capitalism, communism, socialism, the list goes on and on. If these Edomites were allowed to rule indefinitely, they'd turn this entire planet into a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland. As it says in Matthew chapter 24, and except those days should be shortened, no flesh would be saved. And in this video, I'll be going into another example showing how the wicked have destroyed this earth. This is a clip from RT America's YouTube channel titled 30% of tree species now facing extinction, and I wonder who's behind this.
Next time you find yourself looking at a tree, pondering how nice it is, how long its life might have been, all the things it might know, and all the people it might have once hugged, you might want to wish it farewell. That's because almost 30% of tree species in the wild are now at risk of extinction, according to the State of the World's Trees report published recently by Botanic Gardens Conservation International. Yes, the report concludes that out of the planet's 58,497 known tree species, 17,510 of them, or 29.9%, are currently being threatened by extinction. If that sounds bad, well, it gets worse, because an additional 4,099 were listed as being possibly threatened. What's more, at least 142 species are now extinct in the wild. And here's the biggest bad number in the report. The 29.9% figure doesn't assume that data-deficient species, or those that scientists don't have a lot of information on, are also being threatened. If all species in that category were to be considered, then the percentage under threat of extinction would rise to a whopping 51.3%. More than half the trees on the planet.
More than half the trees on the planet facing extinction under the rulership of these Edomites. And again, look at how you Edomites treat the environment. You cut down forests so you can build factories or condos or strip malls. You use the trees for bullshit like tabloid magazines. Hey, the list goes on and on. And hey, because you Edomites are in rulership, these other heathen nations are following after your stead, further exacerbating the problems. as it says in Ecclesiasticus or Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 10, as the king or the ruler is, so is the people. It's imperative that you Edomites be taken out of power and the rightful rulers be put back into power, the children of Israel, whom people ignorantly refer to as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, again, beginning with the elect, because we're going to rule this planet under the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, ways which garner towards life, not your ways which garner towards death, destruction, extinction.
And when they talk about trees in the wild, they're not just talking about some unknown randos out there in no man's land you might not care so much about. No, they're talking about trees you know might have climbed or swung from in your yard as a young lass or lad. Oaks, magnolias, maples, the kind of tree that grows in Brooklyn. The kind of tree that's very giving. The trees of life. You know, all the trees that you might have once loved, you tree hugger, you. Of course, the scientists partly blame we humans for the sad state of the trees. They say the main threats to them are forest clearance and direct exploitation for timber. They also blame the spread of invasive pests and diseases, which you can also blame on us humans with our pesticides and whatnot.
And who do you think owns the companies that create most of these pesticides and herbicides out here?
And they also blame climate change, which is of course easy enough to pin on humans as well. And if we don't do something about it soon, we might lose them forever, which would be bad for us humans who like the planet as it is now. Because trees are a crucial cog in the planet's ecosystem, supplying water to other species, mitigating climate change, providing habitats for pollinators who provide our food. We need the trees to keep the planet what it is now. And if we lose them, it would suck for us humans because it would affect everything we need to survive, at least in this current iteration of us.
And except those days should be shortened, no flesh would be saved, that thou shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth, the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of.
Luckily, there are things we can do about it, according to the report. We can conserve threatened species in seed banks. We can stop cutting them down and start protecting them. And of course, we can always plant more. Yep, plenty we can do to save the trees, but you know, we probably won't.
And we'll leave it on that point. Esau not just probably won't, he won't, because he's the wicked. He was designed to be this destructive entity to show how a wicked rulership is and how not to govern the earth. You weren't created by the Most High to generate life. As it says in Psalm 17, verse 13, you're the sword of the Most High, and a sword is an instrument that's only geared towards war. Now let's get back into some of these precepts. This is Isaiah chapter 24. I'm going to start at verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. 51% of trees facing extinction among a whole other host of ecological issues going on due to you Edomites being in rulership. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The haughty or the proud people, beginning with you Edomites, the current rulers. Hey, you're languishing yourself under your own rulership, and you're causing all these other proud people out here to languish as well. And you know what? You people out here deserve all the judgments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai coming your way. Let's get into that word languisheth in the Strongs real quick. It's H53.5.
Strong's H535. Amal. Gesenius.
To be weak, to droop, to languish, to be exhausted under the wicked, those that are destroying the earth. Past participle of the heart. To be weak, to droop, to be or grow feeble. And hey, when you Edomites were of the seed of Cain, because before your forefather was Esau, in the reincarnation he was Cain that slew Abel. One of the curses of Cain and his seed was that when they tilled the ground, the earth would not yield up its strength to them. And those curses of Cain are on you Edomites to this very day as well. So no matter what you do, this earth is constantly at variance against you. Existence itself is at variance against you. Verse 5, the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, mainly its rulers, the wicked, you Edomites, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. And you Edomites as rulership do everything clean contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Hence, why the world is in the current state that it's in. So, all this madness will not end until you Edomites are taken out of power. And again, the rightful rulers, the children of Israel, are back in power. And you're almost at that point to where your rulership is going to come to an end, which is a beautiful thing. Now I'm going to close it out in Isaiah chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 5. Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked. Again, the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job chapter 9, verse 24. The border of wickedness in Malachi 1, verse 4. The Edomites and the scepter of the rulers. And like I just said, we're nearing the end of you Edomites as rulership. You've just about fulfilled all the prophecies you needed to fulfill before the Most High would take you out of power, breaking the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. That's why we're seeing all these end times prophecies taking place as we speak. And after that last major one takes place, which is the mandatory implementation of the MOB, the Charagma in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 17, that's when Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ, is going to return with the host of heaven to save the elect and put an end to your rulership. And when the dust settles from that, that's when the elect are going to begin enslaving you heathen nations, starting with the elites of the Edomites, and setting back up righteousness in the earth through the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. Again, those chemtrails, pollution in the ocean, GMO foods, cell and Wi-Fi radiation, overthrowing sovereign leaders to set up puppets so you can exploit that nation's resources and its peoples, dropping atomic bombs on people, pushing these destructive ideologies, destroying the trees which benefit the habitat. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. When you Edomites are taken out of power and in slavery, none of these other heathen nations are going to mourn you going out of power, because even though they'll be in slavery, they're going to be seeing the kingdom of heaven being built up. They're going to see righteousness begin to flow in the earth again. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, because again, the laws, statutes, and commandments are going to reign on this planet. And this planet's going to go back to being like the Garden of Eden. But in this case, even better. There's going to be clean air because chemtrails are no longer going to be getting sprayed in the sky. Clean water. Animals are no longer going to be getting experimented on like what Anton Faust was found out to be doing. Animals are no longer going to be getting hunted to extinction. The environment's not going to get strip mined for its resources. There's going to be clean food, no more GMOs. And the family structure is going to be back in order with the man at the head and women and children under subjection. Yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Not only are the people going to rejoice at you Edomites not being in power, but nature itself is going to rejoice. And those Christmas trees are fir trees. And so that wicked holiday, Christmas, is no longer going to be taking place. And these fir trees are no longer going to be getting cut down in mass numbers just so people can make an altar to Nimrod and then throw that tree out afterwards. And fir trees are much better when they're not cut down. They have a lot of healing properties to the environment. And then you've also got that show Axemen, where Edomites cut down trees for sport. Again, you Edomites will no longer be able to molest the environment for your own personal gain. Everything is going to work in tandem like it did back in the Garden of Eden. And after that first 1,000 years, these other heathen nations will be allowed to go back to their lands, though they'll still be under our laws, statutes, and commandments. But as for you Edomites, every single Edomite man, woman, and child, from young to old, will be gathered up and permanently culled from this planet with fire, fulfilling Revelation 11 verse 18, and shouldst destroy them which destroy the earth, and good riddance, a nightmare finally over. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.